Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the DJ Sessions Presents the Virtual Sessions. I'm your host Darran, and right now I'm sitting in the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington, and coming in all the way from Berlin, Germany, one of my favorite cities in the world. We have none other than longtime veteran in the industry and vocalist, DJ, producer, Robert Owens. Robert, how's it going today? Or tonight, I should say.
Thank you for having me here. I'm grateful to be here with your family.
Absolutely, super excited to be talking with you today. Definitely have an insight that a lot of the younger generation, a lot of younger artists don't have that I'm excited to get down into today on the show with you. But I got to start out with you're coming in from Berlin, and I just got to say, after getting out in the world, I know we talked a little bit about this pre-show. I was in Berlin last year. What a beautiful city, and what an awesome culture. Just from the little bit of time that I spent there, the industry culture was so, it literally put a inkling in my head that I thought about moving to Berlin myself last year.
Well, it's a very vibrant country, vibrant culture here musically. It's a party. It appears to be every day. And you have clubs like Sisyphos, where I have a residency there. I've been a resident at that club for maybe about 9 or more years. Sometimes they can open on a Wednesday or Thursday and close on a Tuesday or Wednesday. So it's just it's complete mayhem here in some places.
I don't know if I need more of that in my life or
you could
less
get lost. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you have to really know your tolerance and levels of you have to be really focused on get in, get out, do what you have to do, get back to your responsibilities. But it's beautiful music culture here, not just with the clubs, with musicians as well. There's a lot of talented artists here, musicians, DJs, so it's a really vibrant culture for music lovers and creators.
Yeah, I think what I want to plan, and I obviously got to talk with Martin Ayer about this at Riverside Studios, is to plan a trip where I can kind of like maybe
Another beautiful complex.
Yeah, I love that place. I was just blown away how vast it was, and I recently connected. I have an interview with him coming up here shortly. I'm super excited.
Really? Okay. Please say hi from me.
I definitely will.
I actually record right across the lot from there with Jamie Anderson.
Nice.
So I'm over there a lot throughout the week. I'm right there downstairs recording a lot. I do a lot of vocal work there, and so I think I'll pop over to Riverside.
I want to plan a European tour, get over there, and kind of make maybe Berlin my base. So I could go out to other countries and other cities, but then come back to Berlin for the weekend, maybe when everyone's around. But that place is just probably hustling and bustling, and just do a bunch of interviews there at the studios with everyone coming through, and then bounce around and go to like Ibiza or Paris or Greece.
It sounds like a great idea to do.
And I can take my show anywhere I want because we're doing.
Well, I've made it my base. I did. I've made this my base, and I'm only 1 or 2 hours away from most European countries, and a lot on the weekends I fly out, and then I come back, and this is my base. It's been my base here for maybe about 16 years now.
Nice.
And before that, I was in London for maybe 27 years.
And you started out as a resident DJ in Chicago for local clubs back in the day. How was the experience? How was the experience of transitioning from kind of a national city-based, state-based artist to then moving and becoming an international DJ, producer, vocalist? What was that transition like? Did it take time, or was it like, I'm here and I want to bounce?
No, it was instant. It's instant. You think the first early house tour with Trax Records with Larry Sherman. It was Fingers Inc., Marshall Jefferson, Kevin Irvin, who moved on to Club Nouveau. He was over here with us. There was a few. I can't remember everybody that was on the tour. Frankie Knuckles, I think, was even on that tour. And I think it was Dave Levy that was, responsible for securing the dates for all of us back then. But I was on that first tour with everyone, and from there, people just started asking me individually to come back over and hang out and visit. I kind of just made friends with certain people over here, in the UK, and in London in particular. And then I just at one point they just said, "We keeping you here," and I'm like, "Okay." I think around 1990 or something. And then when people found out that I was I was over in London, then people in France, Germany, Italy, Switzerland, it just flew off with throughout the week. I was literally flying in and out of town and just going all over the place till it was really overwhelming, and I just stayed because it was like, God, I'd never get that amount of work in America, and just the whole shock of how people reacted to me that quickly to just go to all of those different countries, in places you read about in books or you see on movies and stuff. And it's like, wow, I'm actually here, and I'm doing radio, and I'm hanging out with designers and doing all kind of madness, So I think it just naturally happened, and then I look back and it's what, 30 some more years and I'm still here in Europe.
It's amazing you mention it like that because I went to ADE for my first time traveling abroad internationally in Mexico, Seattle, Mexico, North America. I don't necessarily count that international travel, and it wasn't there for business. But going to ADE in 2022, 2023. Berlin 2024, going to Puebla, Mexico for Dreamfields this year. And then looking forward to the future.
Mexico, that's a place I've never been. I would love to go to Mexico.
Yeah,
what is it like there?
Jerry De La Villa is very connected with the Dreamfields event that was hosted in Guadalajara for the past few years. Now it's being held in Puebla, Mexico. It's about an hour south of Mexico City, population 5 million. And super excited to be going down there for that, covering that concert. They have a lot of big artists that'll be playing.
I hear a lot of people mention Mexico,
Yeah.
So.
And so, but doing that tour, like we talked, I think a little bit pre-show is getting over and kind of making Berlin a base. I could see myself very easily being sucked in and saying, Darran, you live over here, stay over here.
You should do it. Come join us.
Yeah, exactly. Don't sell me on it, Robert. That's how I ended up in Berlin last year. Literally, somebody said, "Come join us. It's cool," and I was like, I booked my ticket the next day. I was flying out. It was for my birthday. My birthday's in a couple of weeks, so it was actually 1 year ago to the date. I was over there for a Rave the Planet.
Happy early birthday!
Thank you.
My birthday is coming up too. My birthday is August 17th. Is coming up.
Oh, dang! So you're Virgo. Okay, I get it. We're both Virgos. I'm on the cusp,
Leo.
but I'm Leo Virgo. Oh, I'm sorry, Leo. What I'm saying, I'm on the cusp. I'm a Leo Virgo. I can't believe I got that wrong.
Leo.
I'm a Leo. You're Leo, right on. You're on the good side. I call it the best two signs in the universe.
And Rave the Planet, I'll be back at Rave the Planet. I was here this past year, and I'm back next year with Westbound. Nice. So definitely you should come and hang out for that. That's a must-see for anyone that's coming.
Anyone. I mean, and I stayed at the Enhow Hotel, too. That place is pretty cool. If you know the Enhow.
That's a nice hotel.
It's a little nice boutique hotel. Got a great rate for it, too.
I live around, literally almost around the corner from there.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm in the Kreuzberg area.
Oh, so you're even close to your studio that you go do stuff with in Riverside as well.
Yeah, so that's why I'm right there by Riverside and everything. Okay. I can literally walk to all the clubs.
Yeah.
And, when they call me to come and play, it's like, okay, I can just walk up.
Then you'll know the only club that I found that was close by that I could go to that played house music was that club that's right by the bridge. It's not too far from Enhow. It was walking distance for me from Enhow.
Club Divisionaire. Okay, you have the one that's on the river, the Club Divisionaire.
I think that's the one that's on the river. You walk downstairs and they have like a barge outside. You can go.
Yeah. That's Divisionaire, and then you have opposite it that it was a club that used to be called Chalet, and they've just renamed it something else.
Okay,
but I haven't been to this new reopening of it. But around the block down the street, there's about 4 clubs down there or something. At least three of them or something. You know,
I
it's
made it
always
that
something
far from
going
the
on
hotel.
down there.
I didn't know where I was going. I was by myself. But you know, the one
And
thing
then, you know, Watergate used to be around the corner from where you were,
I
right
think
there by
Watergate
the
is
bridge.
where
Watergate was there.
where Martin has a resident or had a residency or something of that nature or something. He knew some people that
Okay.
he had a little bit of pull, I think, there to maybe get me in the door.
Mhm.
Not waiting a long line.
But
I will.
even on the block, you know, the block that you were on, if you would have kept straight up the street, it's Renata Club is right there on the corner.
Oh wow.
And if you keep further down, it's the About Blank Club is a little further down. And if you keep further down, Sisyphos Club is further down. And if you
All
come
right,
back the other way, you got
Robert.
Tresor,
Robert, all
you
you're
got
doing is
Kit
selling
Kat
me on getting
Club.
another ticket to come to Germany next year, or maybe even sooner. Maybe even sooner. Come to Germany, come to Berlin, and say, hey,
Yeah,
can I
it's
float you some
Club
dollars
City
and tell me
here.
where the best places to go are. The thing is, I love though is I got to hear house music in Berlin, and I know that kind of is a is not a
Yeah.
natural reoccurring theme there. So I heard it's a lot of techno, which I'm
I
cool with
think
techno.
it depends on which night that you go to
Okay,
and which club, because you figure somewhere like Sisyphos, they have several different rooms. You
okay.
know, they have indoor, outdoor rooms. It's like an amusement park in that place.
Oh,
And you
nice.
know, they have the main winter garden when you enter the place and come through, and they predominantly play house music in that
Okay.
room. Then they have a big, large room indoors that's mainly dedicated to heavy techno. Then they have a tunnel. They have a beach area. Then some other areas of madness. You
What?
know, in some of these clubs, you get lost, huh?
Wow. Okay, I'm definitely planning a
And
ticket
you
to
know,
come
so it
out there
depends. And
then.
even my residency at KitKat Club for Electric Mondays, you know, we play across the board. You know, we might go into funk, into house, into disco. You know, into some techno. You know, I try to be well versed in everything. You know, and you know, it depends just on the night and where I'm playing. You know,
Hmm.
but
And
there's several places here where you can get variety of styles.
after all the years being in the industry, in the game, and doing tracks, playing shows, producing, if you had to pick one of your sorry about that. If you had to pick one of your productions as your most favorite one, which one would it be? And is there a thought behind why it's your most favorite or most memorable? Now I know it's a kind of a loaded question because people ask me all the
Mm.
time, "What's my favorite episode that I've ever done on the show?" And I got 2,600 episodes behind my belt, and I'm like, every single one of them.
Mm.
But do you have one that
Mm.
stands out that maybe one that launched your career or a collaboration you were looking to work on or anything that pops in your head as your most favorite one or your most memorable one?
No, you know, it's like you know, I get this question, a similar type question, a lot throughout my journey. I've had this type question, you know, but for me, every experience is a moment in time. And, you know, it's with whoever the person is with right now, we're having a moment in time. You know, we can't compare these moments we're having to anything else, past or present. This is now. And, you know, my life is about now. Every musical journey, every experience creating with the individual, that was a special moment, and we all are unique in our own right. We can't compare ourselves to no one else. And often I tell a lot of young people, you should never fear giving yourself and being you. When you walk into a room, you should never compare yourself to no one, and you should never fear it. And this, you know, this eliminates fear out of a lot of people. A lot of people are drawn into the fear factor because they compare. They can, you know, compare themselves to this, or they feel like they got to be that or be this. No, you have to be you. You have to give you. You have to embrace the moments and enjoy each moment that you're given in life, and make it special and make it happy
I'm glad
and make it beautiful.
that's a very great, awesome words of wisdom there because when I was growing up and I started in public access and went from public access to broadcast television, and I had no
Mhm.
playbook on how to do this. There was no YouTube, there was no TikTok,
Mhm.
there was basically no internet. I mean, there was internet, but there wasn't video distribution via the internet. And there was no playbook to every book you read was like it was training me basically go to LA and try to pitch my show to the studios, have the studios pick it up. If they wanted to produce it, then they own my shit, and then I don't own anything. And they can just replace me at a moment's notice. Because I was a kid, I didn't know what to do. I didn't come from money and have lawyers or was a Nepo baby, or anything like that, But I ended up producing a broadcast series 3 times, executive to NBC and Fox, and eventually getting 8 separate television shows approved on 13 network stations across the West Coast.
Beautiful.
As an independent studio, and there was no playbook on how to do that. I was kind of making it up as I go, and then boom, the internet comes out in the sense of YouTube and video podcasting, and that's kind of where we found our niche. And I didn't have to work and do that whole route anymore. I could shoot online, but so could everyone else. So everyone thought, oh, it's easy. I got a show. And I'm like,
but nobody could do it like you.
Yeah. Do you know the grind I had to do
nobody
beforehand?
Could do it like you. Everybody else could, but you get your own blueprint.
Yeah,
nobody
exactly.
Can reduplicate your blueprint.
And, head the way clock forward. I sometimes don't get a chance to look back on those accomplishments. And you take a turn and go, wow, I did all that, because I still got all this going forward. I got to worry about keep moving, but, I love what I do. It's a fun time. I get to meet people like you. I get to travel the world sometimes and, meet awesome people there. And, it's about community and really keeping it going. But I think your words of wisdom there are true. Just be you and don't compare yourself to what others are doing. That can be a mind killer in the game if you're comparing, because you never know what those other people are working with. I tell this to a lot of people. You don't know if a family member died and just left them $250,000 and they're paying for a PR company and paying this back, but they may still look like they're broke. But you don't know what money is fueling them or what Rolodex they're tapped into or who they know. So a lot of
the key thing is that money or not, you are unique in your own right.
Yeah.
And nobody can do it the way you're going to do it. Yeah, nobody can feel what you feel.
Exactly.
So, as long as you come in with that kind of energy, you're always going to come with something unique. And when you connect with another individual, you automatically, the two of you create something unique that nobody else can create. They may try to do it exactly like you, but they'll never do it exactly like you because they can't feel what you feel.
Yeah.
And, you come in with that energy and you're going to always come out with something positive to make yourself proud. And in return, you make people around you proud, and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
All that I learn and accumulate is about giving it back to humanity. I can't take it with me, but I can give it away. And I'm a pouring fountain. I tell people often, I am a machine. I even did a song, I Am a Machine. It's constantly pouring. You can take a sip from this fountain, but you can't stop it from pouring as long as I'm alive and living and giving.
I have a similar philosophy. I call it the 90. I used to call it the 98th percentile. Now I call it the 97th percentile. I'll go into in a second why. But I would give away 98% of the information that I knew away freely. Like here, use it. Use me as a reference. Like you said, the fountain reference was a beautiful analogy there. But I had to in 2020. I kind of
be cautious. Everybody doesn't deserve your energy too. You have to be cautious of how. That's why
I call it the 97th percentile now, because I was giving away information to everyone when I would want collaborations. They were using my information to go do their own thing, and I'm like,
so
I got 30 years of knowledge of doing this, and you're going out there trying to do it on your own. I know you're going to go through this. I know you're going to go through this. You're going to go through this. And you're going to get disenfranchised and say, "Oh, this sucks. This doesn't work." I'm like, well, because you just jump started with no plan. And you read ABC and not knowing there's all the way to XYZ and then infinite numbers after that. And you went to playbook going, I can do ABC. It's like, no, but good start. What can I do to help you out? Or I don't need to listen to you. I'm going to do it my own way. Sure.
I've been around. Yeah, we've been around. Huh?
But hey, going to production.
You could be all that loving, but be cautious. Is being short.
Yeah, definitely. But going back to production, surrounding production topics, are you a hardware or software producer, or both?
God, dude, I had a whole studio set up and the neighbors complained and complained. I ended up giving the studio away. So I'm just in and out of the studios. Like I said, across from Riverside, I work a lot with Jamie Anderson. And God, walking into his studio, you got all kind of units in there. You just anybody that's like an engineer programmer or something, you'd walk in there and be like, oh my God. It's just so many different units there, drum machines, keyboards, everything. So we've built a relationship where we're really fast and work really um, sensibly and cleverly together, so it's instant. Sometime I can go in the studio, I might written something and had planned to sing what I wrote down, and then he'll put a track on it, and I was like, oh, scrap that, just give me the mic right quick, I got a feeling, and bam, 5 minutes, and I hit a whole pass of a song from top to bottom, and then he say, okay, that's it. And we'll leave it. So I think it's nice when you have a partnership when you're working with individuals and y'all know each other. You can get things done really quickly. Me knowing basic structures. Again, I can only give you me. I don't go into a studio trying to be anyone else, or I don't have to listen to a track or anything to create a track. I could just instantly set up. You could turn on the 808, 707, 303, or whatever. I can hit a drum program instantly. Its rhythm is in me. I can go, and I don't go into a studio to try. I do. That's another thing I tell people: don't try, do. Either it works or it doesn't work. If it don't work today, know when it ain't hitting it, then say, okay, let's scrap this for the moment. Let me come back and try it another day. But know thyself is another characteristic, that's important, that people should really face, and face the truth about things, and be around people that are honest with you, and accept if something is not working, move on. But then as far as creating music, and I just got a natural energy that I can go into a studio and I know I'm going to come out with a result, because it's just in my DNA to create.
And I like that, that piece of
And with
advice you
any
gave
kind of
there.
hardware, software, I could use any kind of gear, and it's like I can make something work.
That piece of advice is when you have something and then maybe taking a step back and walking away from it is a philosophy I use a lot when I'm working on a lot of stuff, because people think I'm just the guy who turns on a camera and does an interview with somebody. They don't see all the social media marketing, PR, networking, emails, back and forth, arranging, all the stuff that goes on in the back end to put this show on. And I just the other day I hit a frustration point with something I was working on to launch for the website, and I just stopped and I just got up, walked away, came back, and this happens more often than not. Sat down for 30 seconds and go click, click, click. Oh, now it's work. Oh, what was my mental block? What was happening right there? Or when my cat jumps up on the board, and says, "Hey, play with me." I take that as a sign. It says take a break from things for a minute. And like, okay, I'll play. Okay, something's going on. Maybe he can sense that I'm maybe getting just some aura, attention, energy around, and it's like, nope, time to take a break, Darran. Like the other day, he came up. You mentioned you were posting pictures about cats. He came up and literally, I had my hand on my mouse. He came up and just went plop. Right on top of my hand. I just sat there. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? And he just turned and goes,
special.
blah, and just lays right on top of my hand. Like, play with me or look at me. He's a year old. His name's Doja the cat. And he's a boy. I know. I didn't name him.
I love cats.
But yeah, you mentioned recently you
I
were
love
posting some
animals,
stuff about cats
period.
online.
Yeah. If you go on the Instagram page, you'll see some of the posts about cats. It's usually people like really. I try to post little things to lift people's day. Like they might just pass and say, "Okay, I wasn't expecting that. You lifted my day." I think it's
Nice.
important to think about people. In general. Me being involved in the music industry. I always tell people they're my lifeline. You're an extension of me. Me bringing some happiness to you radiates happiness back to me. So that's why I post different things. And at one point I was just posting a few things and people would come back to me and say, oh, you really made my day, you posted this and that. And so it's been something that I continually do because people inspired me to keep doing that and post little things. No matter what I'm
Absolutely.
going through, I could be having a rough day, but I still would put something there to try to lift someone else up, because in return, me seeing their response vibrates back to me, and I've been lifted up seeing that they were lifted up. So I came out of my mood just seeing that, oh, somebody smiled about that.
Absolutely. I think that's, that the reciprocal fan base coming back. One
Yes,
message,
reciprocal.
one
Yeah,
little thing
it's
could just make your
beautiful.
day like, oh, wow. Or somebody coming back going, I really loved your interview with Robert and I love what Robert had to say. Wow, I've heard him for
Well,
years.
fingers crossed, huh?
Stuff like that, or somebody jumping in a chat room and saying something. It's all helps, it's awesome. Because I found even like with another
Yeah.
one of my companies, I found that when you're doing good and you're posting out there and saying everything's great, everything's great, everything's great, people sometimes don't come and
Mm.
say congratulations, you're doing great, because they already know you're saying that you're doing great. They don't have to.
Yeah.
But the second somebody
Yeah.
wants to be negative on you, they'll come and say something to try to bring your day
Yeah.
down. Or if they don't like what
Yeah.
you're doing, that's when
Well,
you
so
hear a
you
lot
got to
of
be
that,
your own cheerleader and cheer for
yeah, cheer for
yourself. You got to
yourself.
lift
You
yourself
gotta
up
be.
and know that,
Absolutely.
yeah, somebody else is going through something, out there just like you, even if you're going through something
Yeah.
negative,
And you
know
don't
that
know who's
somebody else is
watching
going
you
through that.
nowadays. You don't know who's watching you nowadays,
Yeah.
too. You know, if
Yeah.
you could give one production tip or insight to new and up and coming producers out there, what would that be?
Hmm. To be their self and to give their unique self to their projects. Always, rely on your natural instinct to interject something into your production that relates to you and your character.
Hmm. I hear a lot of
And I
DJs.
said for me, like I don't have to listen to, like, a lot of people need to be inspired by something else that someone has done or created, to kickstart their production on a track or something. I don't have to do that. I just instinctively can go into a studio and think of a thought and then just react to that thought and just start laying down some drums and or whatever, and that'll kick me into a bass. Boom, 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 boom. I
You
could
know,
just naturally go into and trigger off. I've had 11-piece band before. I've worked with 50-piece orchestras, all kind of stuff. So I've seen music from all kind of angles. So the rhythm is just naturally in me. So I'd
nice.
say, yeah, just naturally go in there and start off any production with your natural emotion and feeling, just coming naturally from you. And then, if you feel like, okay, I want to get a loop from something else, a loop from that and this, you add that layered in there too, on top of that, which is also fine. But I'd say, from me personally, the greatest things come when you reach inside yourself and find some emotion that triggers you to create something that's naturally coming from you first.
And a lot of producers, they I don't want to call it say make the mistake, but you hear a lot of young producers starting out wanting to make sounds that sound like somebody else. And that might be the hottest sound or the newest
Mm.
thing, or somebody says, "Oh, that's really awesome.
Record
You should make."
labels push record labels push you to do that too. That was a big problem when I did work with major labels. It was like, oh, I want you to do this line like Whitney Houston or Bobby Brown or this artist. I've even been in sessions where they actually were on YouTube or something, and they picked whatever was in the top 10, and they was like, sing this line like him, sing this line like her.
Oh,
And
wow.
then at the end of the session, they like, yeah, man, we got it, it's a hit. And I'm like, really? They go back to the record label and the record label say, but it don't sound like him. And they like, it's like, yeah, because I got a natural style and character that I've created over years. And anybody that knows me and follows me, they know if something is just pieced together and if it's me or not.
Yeah.
So it's never worked with somebody trying to make me sound like make me duplicate other people. I just don't think like I could do it, but it doesn't sound realistic because I think I got a natural emotion to it, a way of conveying a thought, or the way I convey a vocal across, on a song. I think it's a natural way that I do that, that a lot of people recognize now. So this is the other reason why it's hard for you to try to throw me into some kind of commercial vein of doing each line like somebody, and it's like, wait, what? But because they do that with a lot of the commercial artists, I've been in sessions where I've seen the producers putting together a song for a commercial artist, and what they do, they have those artists just sing the song maybe 50, 60 times, and then they cut out pieces of each take to make a composite vocal. Then they give it back to the artist for them to learn the song. After they did all of this, I was like, I couldn't work like that. You have me chopping up all of these different pieces. Now I got to be natural. I come from a church background. Church people be singing for freedom. They ain't sitting there chopping up no pieces. They like, Lord, have mercy, help me, Lord. And they ain't got no time to be piecing that together. They singing that from their soul. They they ain't even show, but they like,
Yeah.
it's somebody up there. Come on down.
I hear you on that. I want to give. I
That
want to give
ain't
a.
coming from no chopping up.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out right now to a couple people watching the show. Some guys from the neighborhood of yours from Germany out there. Sirius and Smokey.
Yeah.
What's up, Sirius and Smokey? If you're still watching on IG, I see you popping in
Shout
the
out,
chat.
family.
Yeah, so we're gonna move a little bit off of out of production and talk about more performance based stuff. And another kind of big question here, probably been asked this before, but what's been the best or memorable experience you've ever had behind the DJ booth? Is there one or moments like I
Oh
was striving for this?
God,
I know there's been hundreds, if not thousands, but like I was on the phone with Ria Meta the other day, and she goes, "One of the biggest things I'd love to do is play Tomorrowland. That would be like the bucket list thing."
I'd like to play Tomorrowland too. Tomorrowland, can you hear us? We want to play there. Shout out to you all there.
Was there
Come on,
anything
make
in
it
your
happen now, Tomorrowland. We've been waiting.
career you can
Yeah, I'd
remember
like
that
to
was like
play there.
another defining moment, or saying I made it to this pinnacle point and it's gonna accelerate me further, or something that was the best experience you ever had behind a DJ booth?
Um, I'd say it's similar to earlier. You asked me about a question, and I said you can't compare one moment to the next. But like, I've had some really beautiful experiences. I played Sydney Opera House twice, indoor and outdoor, and it's like just looking across the harbor, and it like people just seeing the expressions on people's faces while I was singing and DJing and singing there. It's like beautiful. And God, I did the Exit Festival in Yugoslavia, just a sea of people, and at one point it started raining and people started dancing harder, and then it started drying off and the sun started coming out and people were just swaying into the music. That was a beautiful experience. God, I did a tour with an orchestra with Pete Tong and stadiums all across England and Scotland. We ended up back at the O2 Arena. I think 36,000 or more people inside that. It was filled, and like I was a nervous wreck, but just the experience of seeing that sea of people and performing, like I could go on and on about shows like that. Orchestra with Dave Beard, Back to Basics. With the city sponsored, and just to see the love for him and that community, and knowing that I grew with them. From back in the early late 80s and 90s into the 90s or something when I came over to England. I did loads of places all throughout England, and so it's like I could look from country to country, going back to Paris, Bandouche, Le Palace, Radio Nova, David Guetta. I did one of his first tracks on a major label, and so it's like from city to city. It's been so many amazing experiences. I could go on and on. Even places where I met people. I did shows with Lolita Holloway, meeting Miles Davis, sitting down and talking to him. I could take you a journey of different experiences
Wow.
of artists I've been around, Sylvester and different things. Walking into Tina Turner, face to face with her, encounter with David Bowie, Prince. I could go on and on with all kind of things, you know. So it's like
Wow.
I just look down my journey and say, God, thank you, or whoever's up there, thank you. I've had some really blessed moments, you know, that
Mhm.
they're a part of me, and I try to translate and pass that on through my performances to date. And you know, the next performance, and again, this moment right now, this is a blessed, beautiful moment, you
Mhm.
know. And so, you know, it's like you count your blessings, and you know, you be grateful for right now, today, that I'm here and still existing and able to just conversate with you all and talk. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
If you could host an event without any limitations, what five things would you have
Mhm.
at that event?
Well, what would I have at that event? Me, myself, and I. A room filled with people that are family, and plenty water, because we're going to get dehydrated
So
from the
you, yourself, and I,
experiences that
family,
happen.
and water. Any special location that captures your heart or your soul, your mind, when it comes to putting on for atmosphere or anything that you've been to around the world or
Oh, I'm ready to do the first party on the moon. Okay, then we gonna have the after party on Mars. You know,
there we go. There we go. You
let's
know,
do
I
it
always
right, huh?
my contracts have included in the past. People didn't understand. I mean, you understand this when you're in the business, but people didn't understand when I said the entire universe for the rights to my programming and stuff. You know, I have the rights
Yeah,
because I plan to have my
yeah,
show on Mars one day, and I gotta have the distribution rights to put it on
yes,
Mars.
yes.
Or if I
Way out
sell
there
the shows,
past Andromeda.
yeah,
Yeah.
drag it to the
KCAT
universe.
229. It's, you know, there's some planets out there that's got the same atmosphere as Earth. I'm
Yeah,
ready to,
exactly,
you know,
exactly.
to go there and set it up, and you know, set up that DJ system.
And moving things towards the business side of things in the electronic music in the music industry, you have your label Musical Directions. Tell us all about that and
Yes.
the direction you're looking to take by launching your label or getting that started.
Mhm. But musical direction started in London, actually.
Mhm.
When I had a manager at that time, Jackie Nottingham, we started it there in London, you know, and then it kind of went quiet for a minute. Junior's Boys Own did a few tracks on there, and a few other artists I had on the label. I even did something with Farley Jack Master, Funk Chippy, and Adonis. They did something on there. Um, and then I moved over here, what, maybe 2015, and I reactivated the label, and I just went around town and I started looking for all different artists from, you know, different backgrounds. Mood Conspiracy, Jerome Sidrum, who else? Bernard Batty from America. Eric DeClark is on there. But if you go and look up the first album, it's a series. It's a 4-part series, and we're up to part 2 in a couple remix package. And the album is called Naked, and it's naked in the vulnerable sense. I expose my feelings and emotions or whatever to you. And so that's up on Beatport, Track Source, and a bunch of digital outlets. But this whole series is about just connecting different artists from different genres all together, and they're doing the production, and I'm doing the lyrical content for this 4-part album series. And then after that, I want to just take individual artists and start showcasing them on the label, and doing, you know, individual projects with different artists, you know. So I'm grateful that I've reactivated the label. It's been a little slow, you know, and getting production out, because it's been mainly me dealing with everything. But slowly, I'm building a team, and so things should start picking up and coming out faster with projects and everything. But if you get a chance, go and check what we've done so far, and check out the roster of different artists that are there so far. You know, it's a beautiful collection of a lot of different artists. there on the roster that I've worked with, and again from different backgrounds and from house to techno, and so I wanted to be real diverse and give you a global feel of what's happening with people.
Yeah, we toyed with the idea a few years back. It was always like an add-on, something or additional we were going to do with the DJ sessions is create the DJ sessions label.
Mm.
And I looked at that and I'm like, oh, that's just like an old whole company in itself, almost, of doing what we do with
Yes,
production
of
and our
work.
events.
It's a lot of work,
Lots of work out there. And so, I kind of, it's not saying that it isn't still on the plate or in the idea cloud over here that we want to do something like that. But what I did to kind of appease that on our
Mm.
end is we started our new music section on our site where we want to highlight tracks and albums that the guests that come on our show, invite them to be on that, and it's obviously, we do it free of charge. We're not charging. We're not looking for affiliate links or anything like that. We talked a little bit about this pre-show, but, just because we want
Mm.
to help showcase and put more information out there for our not only the people that are coming on the show and taking their time to let us interview them like yourself, but also they make exclusive
Mm.
mixes sometimes. They can put their music up. We have a site-wide player.
Mm.
I have so much going on here that I want somebody to be able to come in the morning when they wake up, come in the afternoon for lunch, and come back at dinner time. And there's something new at the DJ sessions. Whether it's an interview, an
That's
exclusive mix, a
beautiful.
new track, a new news story. I'll go over all that when we do our close, when I do my outro. But my point being is making it a
Mm.
hub where it's really generating content because, a lot of people start up with ideas and they'll get 7/10 of awesomeness going on over here. And then 1/10 of it is like, what's going on over here? So,
Mm.
we're repositioning our site and what I built it for was to include that music side of things, in addition to everything that we do, and slowly working it because we want to be recognized as more of an international brand. Not it isn't just the live streaming show that is based out of Seattle anymore. While I live in Seattle, which you visited recently, and thank you for coming out here. I
Yes,
wish
it's
we
a
would have
beautiful
connected.
place. I
Thank you.
loved it there. I thought about it. I was like, oh, I could live here.
Yeah, you
It's
come back
really
out here again.
beautiful.
We'll have to get you
A
in our mobile
beautiful day.
studio and
I
have you
would
tour around
love
the
to
city on
do
that
that.
and
Yeah,
have
I
some
was
fun.
there with a club called Rhonda.
Rhonda, mhm.
Some of your listeners might know them, but they're a
Yeah.
beautiful collective. Over the years, I've done a lot of dates with them, but they
Mhm.
did a beautiful party there. I can't remember the name of the venue, but it was two different levels. But really beautiful party, and it packed in there, but the energy from the people, it was just instant. And it was like, again, I felt like I was amongst family. And that's
Mhm.
what it's about, with this
Mhm.
whole music thing for me, and that's going back to um, the Studio 54, Paradise Garage, Warehouse, all of that stuff back in the day. Those people, you came in those parties and you felt like you were amongst family.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
I try to keep that same energy alive, and I felt that way when I was there in
Oh,
Seattle. It was
yeah,
beautiful.
we got a community here. We got a community going on here.
Mm.
Going back to the label discussion though, what do you think is the most important thing that labels should be doing for their artists, and on the whole, are they doing a good job of that?
Well, I haven't been affiliated with any of the majors or even too many of the independents. As an artist per se, I've done like featured artist work lately with a lot of projects. A lot of people will hire me to be just a featured artist on their album. So once I actually do my production and vocal composite, I send that on to the producer and label, and then it's out of my hands what they're doing. So I'm not really interactive with a lot of labels and to understand where they're at as far as the creative process, and how they're really taking care of the artist. In the past, it just didn't work for me. It didn't go as well as planned. But with my label, I think I'm doing a good job of making sure that the artist's publishing and stuff is protected and secured, and doing fair, even 50-50 deals with artists. I don't try to take advantage of anyone, and you can come to me and talk to me about things that you don't understand, even within the legal processing of things. And I'm very open about that, and that's something that never happened with me in the past, with dealing with labels and different people. I felt it was too much greed, and people too, this controlling thing. You should want people to understand the business side of things, and just for their future, for their own sanity and security. So I think the difference, if it's any difference from my angle, it's definitely that difference where people can just instantly talk to me, and I openly give you information. I don't want nothing from that, but to see you succeed.
Yeah, that it's definitely the mantra we have here at the DJ sessions when I bring on resident DJs. And it's like, I used to charge DJs back in the day to be a resident on the show, $50 a week. But they were coming into my studio. I was setting up the multicams. Basically, if you were renting studio time from somebody, but I was providing them a service that they didn't have to
But yeah,
invest
if
in
it's
all
a
that.
situation, you have to pay for things. Yeah, rent is not free. So if you got to
Exactly.
pay for
So,
it, you got to balance things out. So it
but
depends on the situation, and people should be understanding to that. If didn't nobody give you to put a roof over your head for free, so you got
exactly.
to balance out things. So
Yeah.
it depends on the situation.
Yeah. So, I mean, it worked, and I still maintained that 98%, which is now 97%. Give the information away for free, help support, help grow, help make things bigger. I think that's kept my mantra and my sanity in a nice, good place too. Of never having to
So yeah,
worry
I'd say
about somebody coming back
anything,
and
it
saying
just
you
all
took it.
depends on the situation.
Yeah. So, never having to worry. I never have to watch my back because I've never stolen or
Yeah.
manipulated or misrepresented a contract. Everything I do, I put in writing as well to make sure everyone knows exactly what's going on, what the expectations are.
Yeah, it's important.
We all love our own interpretations, but in the industry, people can get starstruck. People can get, the rose-colored glasses on and not see the reality of the situation. And, well, you promised me this and you promised me that. I said I want to be there. I want to get there. I didn't say I had that right now. We got to work for that stuff. It doesn't come overnight. Somebody once told me once, I was in an interview with him, and I said, did this just blow up for you overnight? Or did this, happen? How did this happen? He goes, no, there are no Cinderella stories in this business. Somebody's been working behind the scenes.
Okay, I'll go with that. Yeah, no.
I just went and saw Lady Gaga, a few days ago. I was talking with my friend who's a huge fan of hers, and he says, she started out singing in parking lots and doing this for her first shows. I go, yeah, but did you see what she was doing before she did those parking lots? Before she played those early on shows, she probably was already a vocalist. She probably was doing something from an early age. She was just out of a parking lot and went, la 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 la, fuck you all, and somebody goes, sign her, she's a big star. That ain't how it works, Even MC Hammer, I'm bringing up the story that he told that he was a ball boy for the Oakland A's. And somebody saw him in the parking lot rapping, and they said, hey, come over here. And then, MC Hammer was made. I don't know why. It's passed my head because it's relative, but I mean, none of this stuff happens overnight for people. It's a lot,
No, you have to put in the work. Yeah. You have to put in the work, and if you're renting out a space, you have to, like you said, you have to weigh all of that out. So it just depends on the situation.
Which all of that kind of leads me right into my next question is how do you define success as a producer, vocalist, DJ? Is it a Beatport top 10 hit, sold out tour? What are your thoughts on this?
Oh God, success. I haven't defined success because I continue to keep going. Success is the ability and strength and will and determination to want to keep going. If you feel like you've made it, you're done. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing. It's no time to stop and say, "Oh, I've made it." If you filthy rich and you don't have to pay no bills or nothing else, maybe that's some sense of success. But if you still got to pay some kind of bill, and Just okay. In short, if you got to pay any kind of bill, you ain't at no level of success.
You
When you
know,
free from bills and you ain't got to do nothing but sit there and read books all day, maybe that's success.
somebody once asked me,
But as long as the bill collector's at your door, you ain't at no level of success.
somebody once asked me, a
You
longtime
own an
mentor.
island and you ain't got nothing to do but sit there on your island and all of the food and everything free. Maybe that's some kind of success. But no, I'm working every day and night.
A
I'm
long,
chilling, tossing,
yeah,
thinking on how I can make a next move. So it ain't no time to stop and talk about no success.
yeah, a
It's
longtime
like
friend of mine,
what's the next move I can make?
who I started in this industry with, he asked me, he says, how do you define success, Darren? I'm like, well, I define success when I have my Learjet, when I have my Black American Express card, when I have my studios
Okay,
and offices around the world, and I have employees, and I have a management team, and I have an advertising
okay,
budget that is a third of whatever I'm taking in every year, which would be millions of
yeah,
dollars. And he comes to me and
okay,
says, why is money so important? Why did you make money as a gauge of success? I said, money's not a gauge of success. Running a successful business is a sign of success. And in order to run a successful business,
okay.
you have to have money to do that. I have to be able to pay
Yeah.
people what they're
Yes.
worth. I'm not trying to do this all for
Yeah,
free.
I'm
If I
behind
want to
you
hire
there.
somebody that's really good at their job, and they can be poached by somebody for 75,000 or 100,000 a year, and I can only offer them 50. I better figure out a way to start making that money so I
Mm,
can hire that kind of talent to come work for me. And it's not about the money.
yeah.
It's about running
Okay,
a
I'm
successful
behind you
business.
there.
I got to pay accountants. I got to pay lawyers. I got to pay licensing. I got to pay
Mm,
this, all this fun stuff,
yeah,
distribution,
I'm
and marketing.
behind you.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't about the money that was success to me, or making money. That was not my success line. It was
Mm,
having my business be out of the red. And if I make one penny every
yeah.
year
Okay, I'm
over
behind
in
you
the green,
100% there.
I am successful. As a business, as a
Yeah, I'm
business.
behind you right
A
there.
lot of people
Yeah.
like to fluff and dander and pontificate in this industry, make themselves bigger than what they are.
Mm,
And it's like, I've done everything I got.
mm.
I've had people accuse me of making $250,000 to $500,000 a year and not paying anyone, while I've been on food stamps,
Mm,
disability, going to food banks, and not and never letting anyone
mm,
know about it, and getting accused that I'm not
mm,
paying anyone, and not knowing how I'm paying rent the next month. And I'm like, well, I must be doing something
mm,
right entertainment wise, because
mm, mm.
you'll all believe that. Okay, cool. And all they have to do is ask me. I'm not hiding anything from anyone.
Mm,
Like, Darren, how you making it? Go,
mm,
you mean how am I making it while I'm flat broke on my ass and can't work because I'm disabled?
mm,
I don't know. I'm just making it happen. Like, maybe I have some magic. I don't know.
mm,
But yeah, I mean, you just got to push through and make that success. I would love to
mm.
be on a beach with no bills to have to pay for and food everywhere. And
Yes, we all would, huh?
I wouldn't quit doing this though. I would not stop doing this. I love this too much, because that leads me into my next
Yeah,
question is,
me
you
too.
know him, I know him, the world knows him. Carl Cox recently just turned 65 in July. He's still rocking the major festivals.
Yeah,
I mean, you look like a young guy. I know you've been around for a while, but you got your youth. I got my youth. You see yourself
yeah.
still doing this for 10, 15, 20 more years?
Yes, I told somebody, I said, I want to go out with a mic in my hand. Boom.
Ah,
It's like, as long as mortals, whoever up there willing, as long as they allow me to do it, I'm gonna keep doing it. It's
do you
I don't look at no stopping point. I want to give as long as I can give.
you said something there, immortal life, but and I've heard this saying a lot when people are making productions, making tracks. The term it gets synonymous with making a baby or making a child, and you're sending that child out into the world
Mm.
to see what's going to happen with that child. Do you feel that you have some sense of immortality because you have so much work that you put out there, that your legacy will live on based on that? And it's like you made your testimony and rock in the place of time. with
No,
music.
I've never thought about it like that or nothing. I've just been grateful, that I continue to have the desire to create. And on the back end of that, it's always been the thought that I think I might have mentioned this early that I've said to people often, all that you learn and accumulate, you should want to give it back to humanity. No matter how well we live our lives, one day we're going to leave this earth. No matter how much money I can accumulate or save or whatever, somebody else is going to be fighting over that money when I leave this earth. So, nothing really belongs to me. I'm just enjoying what's given to me while I'm here. And and as much as I can pass on, I want to pass on, you know while I'm here, because again, somebody else will be fighting over it and giving it away to others. At least I'm giving it away to people that I think deserve it while I'm
Mhm.
here, is the other end of that. This is the angle of where, I'm saying, when people want to ask me anything about the music industry that I can share information about, I openly give it for free, because I lose nothing from that. I've lived, I've learned, I've enjoyed. Like I told you, early experiences. I could sit all day and tell you about experiences I've lived. And so, the most beautiful thing that I can do is give back now. And that takes nothing away from me. And we all struggle. I struggle, and so I'm very sympathetic towards people struggling and stuff, and that's the other angle of me openly wanting to give, because a lot in life, a lot of this industry, people are selfish and self-centered. So somebody else has to change the narrative there, and hopefully I'm one of those individuals that's looking at it from a alternative viewpoint.
Mhm. And after all that, your experience of cultivating and advice giving and pushing yourself and keeping going, do you ever get sometimes fed up with making and playing music in the industry as a whole? And what do you do to cope with that? What do you do? What's your
No,
go-to
I
take
enjoy
a
it.
break, mantra, reset, best piece of advice you can give
Mm,
out there, or what do
well,
you
I
do?
love shopping. I love going in stores, try sometimes just going in, trying on racks of clothes, even if I ain't gonna buy them. It's like therapeutic to me to just shop.
You know,
It's one of my curses too, because like God, I feel like I'm just living amongst clothing and jewelry and stuff. But that's a beautiful thing to me, to just go and look at things and see nice, beautiful things. I like going out to nice dinners. I have friends that invite me out to dinners and stuff. So, and I go to the gym often. I'm a member of a club, Soho House. So even different Soho houses around the world, I go in and go to the gym and go up to the restaurants. And often you run into friends or industry people a lot in that social club environment. So, I have a few different outlets besides the music, the go-tos to just break away from it. But I enjoy music, and God, I'm on like in flight in different music formats, so I'm getting bombarded with music. Sometimes my inbox has over 2 or 3 thousand tracks in there. Sometimes I just have to erase the inbox to get it down. I'm Per week I'm going through hundreds of tracks. A lot of people don't realize that DJs, serious DJs, they're not just up there spinning records. They spend hours, 5 and 6 hours, going through tracks and tracks, trying to narrow down to tracks that will work with their feelings and emotions for their next sets that's coming up. It's not just serious persons that's been in this business for a long time. They're thorough about what they're playing and what they're giving back. And for me, it's taking people on a musical journey, trying to tell you a story. I'm not just standing there playing records. I'm seriously like looking at your emotions and feelings. I'm looking at the crowd, and I'm trying to tap into your emotion and thoughts. So it's a lot of things entailed with the emphasis of the word entertainer. I'm there to entertain you, but and I studied, for this performance of entertaining you for this event. You know, I thought about what you might be like, and I never planned a set. I reacted to who I seen and what I felt at that present moment in time.
Yeah, it's very interesting and how one interprets and takes the time off to deal with everything that's going on. That's one of the reasons you mentioned there, going through and looking at all those tracks. If I open up a label, now I got to do my own A&R. Who am I to decide what is good and what is bad? What needs to be released and what isn't? It's like subjective up to me. I guess I could put it to a voting system within my internal team, but now I have to have an internal A&R team and people that know something about music and what's good to release. And I could just get inundated with stuff like that. I had to kind of 2022 we ramped up, and I did an experiment where our invites increased by 800%. Where I was doing 40 emails a week asking people to come on the show, we stepped it up to 300 emails a week, and to see what would happen. Well, something happened, and we did that in April. In the month of May, I had like 50 some odd interviews scheduled. And that was only on a 3-day schedule a week. So you have 4 weeks, do the math. And then the same thing happened in June. I had like 47 interviews. July, like 43 interviews. It was just packed to the rim. And I wasn't even eating lunch. I wasn't getting much sleep because I had to edit all these and put them up and online and promote. Came back and finally got a schedule.
Beautiful to be popular, isn't it?
It is. We're ramping back up, but now I got a system in place now to keep my sanity and not burn out. And get fed up with it. Or oh my God, I got to do this again, or oh I got to, just you got to keep that positive mental influence, or PMI is what I like to call it, and going. If you could take one non-famous person and put them in the spotlight who means a lot to you other than your direct family or direct friends, who would that be and why?
Who, if I could take a non-popular, non-family member and put them in the spotlight, who would it be? God, that's a good. Okay, you can come up with some interesting questions, huh? Yeah. Oh God. Who would I go to? Maybe one of the individuals that, along the block down here in these shops. Like when I go outside, if I go to the corner, every shop from the bakery to the clothing store to the next store, I end up just waving, hey, how you doing? Everybody knows me all up and down the block in the shop. I could go into any one of these shops and just say, okay, come, you first and you second, shop to shop down the block. So I can just go right to the corner store and grab the owner at the till, or the whoever's at the till. I know most people just working.
Sounds like a podcast show.
So like you said, you could go through 40 or 50 different things. I could just walk up the block and get to the next 3 blocks, and I know probably about 10 people in every store, a shop going all the way up, so I could randomly pick any of them and say, okay, we're gonna take you. You fall into this category of not the family member, not a DJ or something, but somebody that sees me all the time, and we always click and link. Let's see what you do in this circumstance.
Nice. If somebody were to write a biography about you, what do you think the title should be?
He lived, he loved.
He lived, he loved. Robert Owens. He lived, he loved. That's a nice one. That was quick. You got something in the works that we don't know about?
No, just I feel like I'm guided by higher forces. I just react to natural reaction. I said this is something like I mentioned to you earlier about in the studio. I don't try. I just do. I just instinctively can go in and I react to my first thought. Even in the creative process of when I'm doing projects for other artists, they'll send me an instrumental, and like I go in and I just instantly lay down my first thought. And I always have it in my back of my head. Maybe they won't like that thought, so I have a plan B. But usually 9 times out of 10, they went for my first A thought. And I think I stick to that kind of process of thinking, and so that's where my reactions are just natural. I can just naturally blop, boom. Either it works or it don't work.
Nice.
But I don't worry. I think a lot of it is too because I don't worry, and I don't um I'm not afraid of failure. If something fails, if I fall, I'll get back up and try it again. So I think I'm very much that kind of individual, and
Would
I'm
you?
also kind of a Robin Hood character. I think I've always been the lefter. If I wasn't the first one that they picked and all of that. But I was always ready there and planning some extra because they didn't pick me first. So I said, I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna add some extra in here.
Robert, we're going to wrap things up here. It's been a great time talking with you. Definitely going to follow up with you in the future. Is there
Thank you
anything else?
so much.
Is there anything else you want to let our DJ Sessions fans know before we let you go?
Not really, but to say thank you so much, family, and it's been a pleasure being here with all of you, and wishing all of you a beautiful future and a beautiful evening, morning, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. May you feel love, and may you look forward to giving love.
There you go. Awesome. Where's the best place people can find out more information about you and what you got going on?
On the Instagram page, I try to post a lot of there, like upcoming dates, that this is Robert Owens on the Instagram. A lot of people can find out different things. You can see even clips of like performances and, of different places I've just been, or up and coming events that are about to happen. I place a lot of things there, and there's also a musical directions page on Instagram. You can go to that page too and check out some of the artists and up and coming artists and things that are about to happen there. And then I have some other things in the pipeline that I won't say, but when it's happening, I'll definitely that's the first place that you can find out about things. But I'm there on TikTok, Threads, Facebook, and all different formats as well.
Nice. But this underscore is underscore Robert underscore Owens at Instagram. Best place to go.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Awesome. Robert, thank you so much for coming on the DJ sessions today. Like I said, we're going to follow up with
Thank
you,
you as
keep in
well.
touch with you. I'm probably going to be seeing you in Germany, in Berlin next year, maybe this year.
Yes, you got to come hang out.
Let me talk with Martin first and let me
Yes,
arrange some
please.
stuff, and we'll do some stuff over the studios you work with as well. Do a little studio tour. I love to check out
Yes,
some of those
please.
nightclubs, and I definitely like to shop myself. So
Yeah.
you'll have to take me some of the best shopping places.
Okay.
Berlin, I'd
All
love to go.
right. You get tired of coming around with me. I can take you all over the city.
I'll travel light, and
I
then
definitely can spend. We can. Okay, we can spend like 3 and 4 hours shopping now. I could.
there we go. There we go.
Don't put me to the test on shopping.
I'm an avid shopper. I next to food, I think clothing is my next, and then interior design is my next. And like, all right, cool. I can jive with that. I don't
Beautiful.
get bored. I don't get bored looking through racks. I'm a hunter. I find the good stuff too.
Okay.
On good price, I can find good prices for it too. So
Yeah, yeah. I know where to get some bargains and all of that.
there we go.
Top to
Awesome.
bottom.
All right, Robert. Thank you again for coming on the show. We'll be talking with you here soon in the future. I'm sure of it.
Okay, thank you as well.
You're welcome. On that note, don't forget
All
to go to
right,
our
bye-bye.
website, thedjsessions.com. Find us on all the socials out there. You can go to our website, click on the buttons at the top. We got a mobile app. We even got a virtual reality nightclub in VR chat. But we got our music section that's just being released. They're going to have some new stuff in there. We have over 700 news stories a month, 2,600 past episodes, exclusive mixes, and more at thedjsessions.com. Just use your mobile device. Click on that QR code right there, or just go into the website or look us up on Google. We're all over the place, thedjsessions.com. I'm your host, Darran, and that's Robert Owens coming in from Berlin, and I'm coming in from the virtual studios in Seattle, Washington for the DJ sessions. And remember, on the DJ sessions, the music never stops.